Hi, welcome back to Reading with Rocco. Well, I'm just sharing some passages with you from some of my favorite books from my personal collection at home. And a book I want to share with you today is called If Woman Ruled the World, edited by Sheila Ellison. It's a collection of essays from women of different disciplines, of different careers and different backgrounds, and they're very thought-provoking and intriguing, quite provocative. And I'm going to share a couple of these essays with you in different video segments. I shared one already in a previous video regarding healthcare, and now I want to share with you an essay by Julia York. Ms. York is a writer and attorney advocate for families with disabled children. So Ms. York, her essay is called If Woman Ruled the World, Special Education Would Be Truly Special. She begins with a quotation from Lou Ann Walker, and it says this, quote, "Theories and goals of education don't matter a whit if you don't consider your students to be human beings," unquote. Ms. York goes on to write, "I'm sitting in a windowless room with a nervous parent of a special needs child beside me. Across from us are those school district personnel responsible for this child's education, joined by a new addition to their team, the school district's attorney. The child's mother twists a piece of tissue in her hands, which only moments before she had been crying into. She has never been in such a hostile situation before. But I, as an attorney advocate for special needs families and a parent of an autistic child myself, have seen this scenario played out over and over again. As we sit in this stuffy room, the school district's attorney begins to play the game. When the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act was reauthorized in 1990, its purpose was to provide disabled children with an appropriate education specifically tailored to their particular needs. Under this law, school districts are required to identify those children within its district who have special education requirements and then to meet those needs. Lack of resources cannot be used as an excuse for non-compliance. Yet, federal and state governments provide inadequate funding to implement these costly programs, leaving the school districts in a difficult position. Required by law to educate these children, but lacking the resources to do so, many school district administrators have learned to play an insidious game with the parents of their disabled students. The game goes something like this. If a parent comes to the school district unaware of the specific provisions of the Individuals with Disability Education Act and trusting the administrators to inform them of their child's rights, the most common scenario, the district will often choose to steer the parents into well-established, less expensive programs, whether or not these are the best interests of the child. Parents are often not told about every program available to their child in order to keep the number of children with access to the more costly programs low. In such cases, parents, making decisions based on limited information, often do agree to the school district's recommendation, even if the program is not adequate for their child's particular needs. On the other hand, if parents enter the school district well informed about the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and what their child is entitled to, they stand a much higher chance of gaining an appropriate education for that child. But this is actually where the game gets interesting. There are many ways to delay or even prevent the acquisition of services. For example, if a parent wants a new service, the district can require that the child be tested to see if he or she is eligible for that service. If the parent does not trust an internal school district assessment to be unbiased, sometimes a valid concern, they must seek outside testing, which they pay for themselves. If, after this testing, the school district still refuses to provide the services, the parents must then choose between providing the service at their own expense or taking the district to court. Either way, getting what the child needs costs time and money. Thus, the system is biased in favor of affluent, well-educated parents who have the knowledge and the resources to fight for their disabled children's education. The poor, the middle class, and those less educated are generally given less for their child because they often don't have the time or the money to challenge the system. This truly tragic result is an outgrowth of the education system under the IDEA. Many school districts simply don't have the resources to give all of their disabled children an adequate education. Yet the administrators cannot use this as an excuse when denying services. They are forced to play the game in order to conserve enough resources so that the well-informed parents who know that their child cannot be denied services based on cost will get what they asked for. The parent I am sitting with is one of those lucky ones. She can afford to pay for me to fight for her child so that he gets the services that he needs and deserves in our affluent society. No child left behind, the former president has said in the past, and so it should be. If woman ruled the world, the education of our weakest children would be a high priority, supported not just in words, but with national resources. For women understand that a society should be judged by how its most powerless members are treated. Then we would end this terrible game of fighting for scarce resources, which is played out every day in special education offices around the country, and return to the real goal of all education, preparing our children for the future. And that is the essay by Julia York, Special Education Would Truly Be Special If Women Ruled the World. She's absolutely right. The system is always rigged against the poor and the middle class. So that's another essay I wanted to share with you from If Women Ruled the World. And I hope to be back again in another video segment with another essay from this book.